Gentlemen, I need you to stop what you're doing for just a moment. I mean, really stop. Put down whatever is distracting you. Close those other tabs. Give me your full attention for the next few minutes because what I'm about to share with you could fundamentally change how you experience every single day for the rest of your life. Now, think about the last glass of water you drank today. Maybe it was an hour ago. Maybe it's sitting right there beside you on your desk or your nightstand. You lifted it, you drank it, you put it back down without a second thought. Simple, routine, completely unremarkable. Something you've done thousands of times without ever questioning whether it was actually working for you. But what if I told you that simple act, that glass of plain water, is actually working against your circulation right now? Not poisoning you, no. Not making you sick in any obvious way, but quietly, silently, invisibly failing to do the one job your blood vessels desperately need it to do after the age of 50. Failing you in a way that's so subtle you'd never connect the dots on your own. A way that's been draining your vitality so gradually that you've adjusted to the decline without even realizing it was happening. You see, there's a mineral. One single mineral that most men have never once considered putting in their water. A mineral that's been sitting on store shelves, completely overlooked, while millions of men suffer with sluggish circulation and blame it on their age. And this mineral has the ability to open up blood flow in ways that will genuinely shock you. We're talking about circulation that reaches every corner of your body. Your brain, your heart, your muscles, your extremities, your organs, everything. The kind of blood flow that makes you feel alert, warm, energized, and fully alive in a way you probably haven't felt in years, maybe even a decade or more. And the real tragedy that keeps me up at night is this. Millions of men over 50 are drinking their 8 glasses a day, thinking they're doing everything right, patting themselves on the back for staying hydrated, while their blood moves through their veins like thick syrup through a narrow straw. Slow, sluggish, struggling to reach the places it needs to go. And they have absolutely no idea that the solution is so simple it could fit on the tip of a spoon. I've spent years researching how circulation changes in the male body after 50. I've reviewed hundreds of studies. I've spoken with thousands of men who've implemented what I'm about to share. And this one discovery, this one mineral addition, has become the single most impactful recommendation I give to any man who tells me he feels tired, foggy, cold in his hands and feet, or like his body just isn't performing the way it used to. It's the first thing I tell them, before anything else. Because nothing else works properly until this foundation is in place. So stay with me through every single minute of this video. Don't skip ahead. Don't fast forward. Because by the end, you'll know exactly what this mineral is, exactly why it works so powerfully for blood flow specifically, and exactly how to use it starting tomorrow morning. This is the kind of information that changes everything once you understand it, and you can't unknow it once you do. You'll never look at a glass of plain water the same way again. Before we dive in, if you're a man who refuses to accept decline as inevitable, if you believe that your best years can still be ahead of you, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. I put out content specifically designed to help men over 50 take back their vitality and live with power and purpose. Not just existing, not just getting through the day, actually thriving. And drop a comment below telling me your age and where you're watching from. I read every single one, and it helps me create exactly what you need most. Now let me explain what's actually happening inside your blood vessels right now. Because once you understand this mechanism, once you see the picture clearly, the solution becomes so obvious you'll wonder how you ever missed it. Here's what nobody tells you about blood flow after 50. Your circulatory system doesn't just slow down because of age. It doesn't deteriorate because you've hit some biological expiration date that nature programmed into you. It slows down because of something far more specific, something far more correctable than the passage of time. It slows down because your blood vessels lose their ability to relax. Let me explain what I mean by that because this is crucial. Every blood vessel in your body, from the major arteries near your heart to the tiniest capillaries in your fingertips, is surrounded by a layer of smooth muscle. That muscle contracts and relaxes thousands of times a day, controlling how much blood flows through at any given moment. It's like a garden hose that can squeeze tighter or open wider depending on what your body needs. When those muscles relax fully, your vessels open wide. Blood rushes through easily, like water through an open pipe. Oxygen reaches every cell efficiently. Nutrients get delivered on time. Waste products get carried away before they cause problems. Everything works beautifully, seamlessly, effortlessly. This is what good circulation feels like. Warm hands, clear thinking, strong energy, quick recovery, reliable performance in every area of life. But when those muscles can't relax, when they stay in a state of partial contraction like a fist that won't fully unclench, your vessels narrow. The pipe gets squeezed. Blood has to push harder to get through. Your heart has to work overtime just to maintain basic circulation to your vital organs. And the furthest points from your heart, the areas at the end of the line, your brain, your fingers, your toes, and yes, those areas critical for masculine performance and confidence, they get shortchanged. They receive less blood, less oxygen, less nutrients, less of everything they need to function at their best. This is what's happening inside most men over 50 right now as they listen to this. Not because their bodies are broken, not because aging has some irreversible, unforgiving grip on them, but because they're missing one critical mineral that tells those blood vessel muscles to release, to open, to let go of that tension, to let blood flow freely the way it's supposed to. The way it did when they were younger without them ever having to think about it. And that mineral, the one that unlocks everything, is magnesium. Now, I know some of you might have heard of magnesium before. Maybe you've seen it on a supplement shelf and walked right past it without a second glance. Maybe your doctor mentioned it once in passing during a routine visit. Maybe you even tried it years ago in some cheap tablet form and didn't notice anything. But I promise you, the vast majority of men do not understand what this mineral actually does for blood flow specifically. They don't understand how profoundly deficient they are. They don't understand that the form matters enormously. And they certainly don't understand that adding it to their daily water, in the right form and the right amount, can produce changes they'll feel within days, not weeks or months. Let me give you the science in plain language that makes complete sense. Magnesium is what scientists call a natural calcium channel blocker. Now, that term might sound familiar to you. You've probably heard of calcium channel blockers before. They're one of the most commonly prescribed classes of blood pressure medication in the world. Millions of men take them every single day. They cost billions of dollars in pharmaceutical sales every year. And they work by doing one simple thing: preventing calcium from flooding into the smooth muscle cells that line your blood vessels. When too much calcium enters those cells, the muscles contract forcefully. The vessel narrows. Blood flow decreases. Pressure goes up. Everything downstream suffers. Calcium channel blocker medications prevent that excessive contraction and allow the vessel to stay open. They're effective, which is why doctors prescribe them so frequently. But they come with side effects: dizziness, swelling in the legs, constipation, fatigue, headaches. The list goes on. And they cost money month after month, year after year. Magnesium does the same fundamental thing, naturally, without a prescription, without those side effects, without a monthly pharmacy bill. It competes with calcium at the cellular level, occupying the channels that calcium would otherwise flood through, preventing excessive contraction of your blood vessel walls. When magnesium levels are adequate, your vessels can dilate fully. They can open wide and let blood surge through with minimal resistance. Your heart doesn't have to fight against constricted pipes. Circulation reaches everywhere it needs to go. But here's where it gets truly alarming, where it becomes clear that this is a genuine crisis hiding in plain sight. Research from major health institutions around the world has found that somewhere between 60 and 80% of adults over 50 are deficient in magnesium. Not slightly low, not borderline, genuinely deficient. Their bodies are running on fumes when it comes to this critical mineral that their entire cardiovascular system depends on. And their blood vessels are paying the price every single day, every single hour, with every single heartbeat. Think about what that means for a moment. Let it sink in. The majority of men walking around right now, going about their daily lives, have blood vessels that are partially clenched, partially constricted, every moment of every day. Not because of disease, not because of genetics, not because of irreversible aging, but because of a simple mineral deficiency that could be corrected with a glass of water and half a teaspoon of the right powder. And here's why this deficiency has become so epidemic. It's not just one cause. It's a perfect storm of factors that all converge after 50. First, modern farming practices have depleted magnesium from our soil. The vegetables and grains we eat today contain significantly less magnesium than the same foods did 50 years ago. Second, water purification removes magnesium that once naturally occurred in drinking water. Third, stress burns through magnesium at an accelerated rate, and most men over 50 have decades of accumulated stress. Fourth, common medications like antacids, diuretics, and certain blood pressure drugs actively deplete magnesium from the body. Fifth, gut absorption efficiency decreases with age, meaning even when you do consume magnesium, less of it makes it into your bloodstream. And sixth, alcohol, caffeine, and sugar all increase magnesium excretion through the kidneys. So you're getting less magnesium in your food, less from your water, burning through more of it from stress, losing more of it from medications, absorbing less of what you do consume, and excreting more of what manages to get in. Is it any wonder that deficiency is almost universal? The symptoms of this constriction, this chronic vessel tension, are everywhere once you know what to look for. Cold hands and feet even in warm rooms. That's reduced peripheral circulation because your vessels can't open wide enough to send blood to your extremities. Fatigue despite adequate sleep. That's reduced oxygen delivery to your cells because your blood can't flow freely enough to keep up with demand. Brain fog and poor concentration. That's reduced blood flow to your brain, your most oxygen-hungry organ. Elevated blood pressure readings that seem to creep up year after year. That's your heart fighting against constricted vessels, pushing harder and harder to maintain flow through narrowed pipes. Muscle cramps and restless legs at night that jolt you awake. That's your muscles unable to release because they lack the very mineral that allows muscular relaxation. Slow recovery after exercise or physical work. That's impaired circulation failing to clear waste products and deliver repair materials. And yes, difficulties with intimate performance. That's restricted blood flow to the areas that depend on robust circulation more than almost anywhere else in the body. Men blame every single one of these symptoms on aging. They accept them as normal. They tell themselves this is just what happens after 50. They commiserate with their friends who are experiencing the same things. They adjust their expectations downward. They stop trying to feel great and settle for feeling okay. But it's not age doing this. It's depletion. It's a mineral tank running on empty while the body silently suffers the consequences, and the man living in that body assumes this is just his new reality. Now let me tell you why plain water makes this problem worse, not better. This is the part that surprises most men. The part that makes them realize everything they thought they knew about hydration was incomplete. When you drink plain water, especially filtered or purified water from those reverse osmosis systems or those fancy filtration pitchers, you're consuming a liquid that has been stripped of all mineral content. It's pure H2O. Nothing else. Zero minerals, zero electrolytes, zero conductivity. And while that purity makes it clean and safe to drink, free from contaminants and chemicals, it also makes it what scientists call hypotonic. That means it has a lower concentration of dissolved particles than your blood and cells do. Here's why that matters enormously. When a hypotonic fluid enters your system, basic chemistry takes over. Your body seeks equilibrium. It tries to balance the concentration on both sides. So it actually pulls minerals out of your tissues, out of your cells, out of your bloodstream as it tries to achieve that balance. Your body borrows magnesium, sodium, potassium, and other vital minerals from its own dwindling reserves to process and distribute that pure water. So every glass of plain water you drink when you're already mineral depleted actually makes the depletion slightly worse. You're not just failing to add minerals, you're actively diluting the ones you have left. You're making an already bad situation incrementally worse with every glass. This is why some men drink enormous amounts of water, far more than the recommended amount, and still feel dehydrated. They still feel tired. They still have poor circulation. They still have dry skin and stiff joints and foggy thinking. They're flushing minerals out faster than they can replace them. Their hydration is cosmetic. It looks good on paper. Their urine is clear. Their water intake is impressive. But at the cellular level, at the blood vessel level, at the level where health is actually determined, nothing is improving. In fact, things may be gradually getting worse. When you add magnesium to your water, you reverse this entire destructive dynamic. Now you're drinking a mineral-rich fluid that actually deposits resources into your tissues instead of withdrawing them. Your blood vessels receive what they need to relax. Your cells receive what they need to generate energy. Your muscles receive what they need to release after contracting. Your circulation opens up because the physical mechanism of constriction, the calcium-magnesium imbalance that's been keeping your vessels tight for years, is finally being addressed at its root cause. The effect on blood flow is not subtle. It's not a placebo. It's not wishful thinking. Studies published in respected cardiovascular research journals have demonstrated that magnesium supplementation can significantly improve what's called flow-mediated dilation, which is a direct, measurable assessment of how well your blood vessels can open up in response to increased blood flow demand. Men who were deficient and then restored their magnesium levels showed marked improvements in vessel function in just 2 to 4 weeks. Their arteries literally became more flexible, more responsive, more elastic, more capable of dilating when the body needed more blood flow. The vessels were physically different after supplementation, more youthful in their behavior, more capable of doing their job. And this isn't just about the big arteries near your heart, the ones you might picture when you think of cardiovascular health. This is about the tiny capillaries that reach every corner of your body, the microscopic vessels that deliver oxygen to individual brain cells so you can think clearly and remember where you put your keys, the ones that reach your muscle fibers so they can perform during exercise and recover afterward, the ones that feed your skin cells so you look healthy and vibrant rather than pale and tired, the ones that supply your joints with nutrients so they stay lubricated and flexible, and the ones that serve those intimate functions that define masculine confidence and vitality in ways that matter deeply to most men. When blood flow improves everywhere simultaneously, when every capillary bed in your body opens up and starts functioning properly again, the effect is genuinely transformative. Men describe it as feeling like someone turned the lights back on after years of dimness, like waking up from a fog they didn't even know they were walking through, like getting 10 years back that they thought were gone forever. They don't feel like they're 25 again, and that's not the promise here. But they feel like the best possible version of their current age, fully functional, fully capable, fully alive. Now, let me give you the complete protocol, because magnesium alone is powerful, tremendously powerful. But when you combine it with 2 other strategic additions to your water, the effect on blood flow multiplies dramatically. These 3 elements work together synergistically, each one amplifying the effects of the others, creating a compound impact that's far greater than any single element alone. The first addition is natural, unrefined salt. And before you react negatively, before the alarm bells go off in your head from decades of anti-salt messaging, hear me out completely. I'm not talking about the processed white table salt that sits in shakers at fast food restaurants. I'm not talking about the refined sodium chloride that's been stripped of everything beneficial and pumped into packaged foods. I'm talking about Himalayan pink salt or Celtic sea salt. These natural salts contain over 80 trace minerals in addition to sodium chloride. They're a completely different substance than what you think of when you hear the word salt. They look different, they taste different, and they function completely differently in your body. Here's why natural salt matters profoundly for blood flow. Sodium is the primary mineral that controls blood volume. It determines how much fluid stays in your bloodstream versus being lost through your kidneys. It acts as a sponge that holds water in your vascular system where it belongs. When sodium is too low, your blood volume drops. Less fluid in the system, your blood becomes thicker relative to the space in your vessels. Your heart has to pump harder to move this reduced, thickened blood. Circulation to your extremities and distant organs suffers because there simply isn't enough volume to go around. Many men over 50 have been told for decades to avoid salt at all costs. They've been scared away from sodium by blanket recommendations that don't distinguish between processed salt consumed alongside sugar and unhealthy fats and junk food, and natural, unrefined salt consumed mindfully as part of a healthy hydration practice. These men have dutifully eliminated salt from their diets, and as a result, their blood volume is chronically low. Their blood is thick and sluggish. Their circulation is compromised not from excess sodium, but from deficiency. They've overcorrected in a way that's actively harming their cardiovascular function. A tiny pinch of natural salt in your morning water. We're talking about the amount that fits on the tip of your pinky finger, restores proper blood volume. It keeps fluid in your bloodstream where it belongs. It gives your blood the right consistency to flow easily through even the smallest capillaries without resistance. Combined with magnesium opening your vessels wide and relaxing those smooth muscle walls, the sodium ensures there's adequate volume and proper pressure to push that freely flowing blood into every corner of your body. Magnesium opens the pipes. Sodium fills them with the right amount of properly hydrated blood. They work together beautifully. The second addition is beetroot powder. And this is where things get really exciting for blood flow specifically. This is the element that takes everything to another level. Beetroot contains extremely high concentrations of natural nitrates. These are compounds found in certain vegetables that your body has a specific pathway to utilize for cardiovascular benefit. When you consume these nitrates, your body converts them through a two-step process into nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is arguably the single most important molecule for blood flow in your entire body. It's so important that the scientists who discovered its role in cardiovascular function won the Nobel Prize for their work. That's how significant this molecule is. Nitric oxide is the master signal that tells your blood vessels to relax and expand. It's produced naturally in the lining of your blood vessels, and it diffuses into the surrounding smooth muscle, causing it to release and the vessel to dilate. When nitric oxide levels are high, blood flows freely, easily, abundantly. When levels are low, vessels constrict, blood pressure rises, and circulation suffers everywhere. Here's the critical problem. Nitric oxide production declines significantly with age. A man at 50 produces roughly half the nitric oxide he produced at 25. By 60 or 70, production may be down by 75% or more. This decline is one of the primary reasons that cardiovascular problems become so common with age. It's one of the main reasons blood flow deteriorates, and it's one of the most correctable factors in the entire equation. Beetroot powder provides your body with the raw materials to produce nitric oxide, even when your natural production has declined. It essentially bypasses the aging-related decline by providing an alternative pathway for nitric oxide generation. The nitrates in beetroot are converted by bacteria on your tongue and in your gut into nitrites, which are then converted into active nitric oxide throughout your body. Research from leading universities in the United States and Europe has shown that dietary nitrate supplementation from beetroot can measurably reduce blood pressure, significantly improve exercise performance and endurance, increase oxygen delivery to working muscles by up to 20%, enhance blood flow to the brain, improving cognitive function, and improve vascular function across every measured parameter. The effects begin within 2 to 3 hours of consumption and build progressively over time with consistent daily use. When you combine beetroot powder with magnesium and natural salt in your water, you create what I call a triple-action blood flow formula. 3 different mechanisms working simultaneously through 3 different pathways to achieve one powerful result. The magnesium relaxes your vessel walls by blocking excessive calcium entry. The nitric oxide from beetroot signals those walls to dilate even further through a completely separate signaling pathway. And the sodium ensures adequate blood volume to fill those expanded, relaxed vessels with rich, oxygenated, properly hydrated blood. The circulation improvements from this three-part combination are remarkable, far beyond what any single element achieves alone. Men report feeling warmth return to their hands and feet within the first few days. They notice improved color in their face and skin. Mental clarity sharpens noticeably as more blood reaches the brain. Physical performance improves as muscles receive substantially more oxygen. Energy becomes steady and reliable instead of fluctuating wildly throughout the day. And intimate function, the area many men care about most but are least likely to ask about, often improves significantly as blood flow to those critical areas is restored to levels they haven't experienced in years. Here's your exact daily protocol. This is precisely what you'll do starting tomorrow morning. No ambiguity, no guesswork. Just a clear, simple system you can follow every single day.